My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about, China. I have not had, the only guy made money from China is this guy. He's the only one. Nobody else has made money from China.
That's President Biden on the debate stage back in 2020, denying that his son, Hunter Biden, made any money conducting business with communist China. On Wednesday of this last week, Hunter Biden admitted in federal court to receiving more than $600,000 from a Chinese energy company backed by the CCP, exposing his father's claim as false. This revelation comes as China continues to ramp up its global aggression toward the United States under the Biden administration. The latest incident involving suspected CCP hackers breaching emails of U.S. government officials and agencies, as well as a new report this weekend of malware that the White House believes is hidden deep within the network operations of the U.S. military. Joining me right now on the impact of the Biden family's business deals and what the impact is on national security is the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Congressman Mike Turner. Mr. Chairman, thanks very much for being here this morning.
Good, thank you. Good morning.
Has all of this put America in a more vulnerable position when it comes to communist China?
Well, it's certainly concerning, and you do see a pattern of really an uncoordinated policy by the Biden administration in responding to Chinese threats. As they've increased espionage against our country, as you've seen their support for Russia in violation of sanctions on Ukraine, have you seen, hacking and other activities that they've done where there's been a self-declared adversary. Not only do you not see the Biden administration rise up to address these issues, you see, Janet Yellen, the treasurer of the United States, meeting her counterpart in China and bowing. So you have this concern of why the Biden administration is not taking action, not rising up to China. And then you have these payments that went to Hunter Biden and Biden family members from Ukraine, Romania, and China itself. As you pointed out, payments that had been denied before. And remember, these are not accusations. These are actual documented bank records and Treasury documents that show that these were suspicious transactions. You heard James Comer say over 100 suspicious transactions that occurred involving the Biden family and these three sources. But you have to ask the question, what were they buying? What was it that they expected they were buying? They certainly weren't buying Hunter Biden's expertise. And that's what James Comer is doing in his investigation, is getting to the bottom of that.
Well, it's a good point that you make, because one of those documents I have here, and that is a memorandum of understanding that Joe Biden signed back in 2014 to allow hundreds of Chinese companies to trade on U.S. exchanges and not follow U.S. auditing rules. That has been the case now for so long, where these companies do not have to follow the very same rules that American companies have to follow. Was that something he got paid for?
Well, and that's what the questions need to be, is what were these payments for? Have they affected policy? One of the things that we've seen for so long, we have given China a pass, saying it's a developing nation, it doesn't have to comply with emission standards, that it's a developing nation, financial standards don't have to be followed. China has clearly identified itself as an adversary of the United States. It's time for the United States to stand up, clean up the past, and make certain that we respond to these threats, make certain we respond to their efforts to penetrate us for espionage, that the hacking aspects are responded to. And certainly they're held accountable for the things that they're doing with Russia right now in violation of sanctions for the Ukraine offensive.
Congressman, I want to get your take on just that, and in particular this report of malware, which is embedded in the U.S. military. What can you tell us about this?
Well, this is an uncorroborated report. I'm not going to comment specifically on that report, other than to say this, that we are very much aware of China's efforts in hacking and in penetrating systems across the United States. Every company, including, I'm certain, Fox News, can tell you how many times a day that they get attacked from China. Our banking system, our transaction system, our transportation system, our energy sector are on a regular basis being attacked by China without any real answer or accountability from our government. This has to stop. They need to be held accountable, and the attempt to undermine our infrastructure systems has got to stop.
Congressman, I know there's much debate about impeaching Joe Biden. Where do you stand on it? Do you support an impeachment inquiry?
Well, certainly we're not there at all. I think that James Comer, in your prior interview, made a great point that his job is to get the facts. I serve on his committee. He's doing a great job of burrowing down into what the facts are. Remember, the suspicious transaction reports that he has found and is reviewing, that he then took to banks to get banking records and banking transactions. Those are government reports. Those are generated in the Treasury Department. So the Treasury Department and Department of Justice, in their investigation, Hunter Biden knew of these suspicious payments and suspicious activities and did nothing. So James Comer, what he's doing is getting the documents, the actual transactions. Again, these are not allegations. These are actual transactions that he's uncovering. And then asking the questions, what were these transactions? Why were these payments made? What did they think they were paying for? What Biden family members received these payments and why? Those are very, very important questions.
Congressman, they really are. You had a big week, you and your colleagues. There was also a hearing on UFOs. Let's take a look at one of the exchanges. Watch this.
If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
And was this documentary evidence, this video, photos, eyewitness? Like, how would that be determined?
The specific documentation I would have to talk to you in a skiff about.
Wow. Congressman, what can you tell us about this? Non-human biologics?
You know, Maria, I always love it when you have somebody who comes forward and testifies about things that they don't know anything about. I mean, the most, I think, striking aspect of all of the testimony was repeatedly over and over again, the whistleblowers had to say, actually, I don't have any knowledge of this. Somebody else told me that. I mean, really, this would take thousands and thousands of people for such an unbelievable cover-up to be occurring. And for people to speak with such confidence over something that they do not know is, I think, something certainly everybody needs to be concerned about.
So aliens are not on Earth then?
Maria, I certainly can't tell you that there are no aliens here. I can tell you that certainly there's no evidence that what the gentleman is testifying about, he said himself personally, he has no direct knowledge of.
So what's a bigger threat, aliens on Earth or China and its efforts to surveil America?
China, but this administration kind of acts like they're the same risk. It's definitely China, Maria.
Congressman, thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, Intelligence Committee Chairman, Congressman Mike Turner.